Welcome back to Two Keto Dudes. This is Carl Franklin from Connecticut in the United States. And in February 2016, I put myself on a ketogenic diet to take control of my metabolism. In just 2.5 months, I managed to reverse all my markers of type 2 diabetes with diet alone. As of now, I'm 80 pounds lighter with no signs of diabetes or heart disease.
Hi, I'm Richard Morris in Canberra, Australia. I've been on a ketogenic diet since April of 2014. And when I started, I was very sick with complications from type 2 diabetes. Within 6 months of starting a ketogenic diet, all of my biomarkers of disease had disappeared. I lost about 100 pounds. I've completely turned my health around.
And this show is a document of our experiences thriving for years in nutritional ketosis.
And reversing diabetes.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully that might help a few people who are curious about this kind of dietary hacking.
Yeah, we're not doctors. We don't want to give any medical advice, but we are keen to share our own experiences. We're actually both software developers, so we're not afraid of a little technical detail, are we, Carl?
Heck no.
We've done some research into our own deranged metabolisms and the science behind them, and we share studies that we found in the show notes.
You'll probably work out pretty quickly that we're both foodies.
Yeah, we are.
We love to cook and we love to eat. In every episode, we both share a keto recipe that, you might appreciate. So let's start podcast number 130, my friend. Keto & Co. and Ted Tieken.
Heard you say you're due for a little.
So, Richard, do we have any apologies or corrections from last week's show?
Let's see. Last week was number 129, Keto Fest Down Under with Jessica Turton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've actually got two corrections. The first is to the Preston UK meetup group. I said it was on the 18th, but it was really on the 17th, and today's the 19th, so it's already too late. So my apologies, folk. The other thing is I haven't got the Eventbrite yet up for Keto Fest Down Under. That is hopefully coming up this weekend. I'm just organising bank details and stuff. So
yeah, sure.
That should be up pretty soon. So looking forward to that. You'll be able to find it at ketofestdownunder.com.
Excellent. I also have something. We picked a winner last week from Australia. They happen to be from Australia.
Oh, right.
And that makes it difficult to ship some things, right?
Yeah.
And our vendors didn't sign up for, $130 to ship a book or a this or a that to Australia. So we're disclaiming our giveaway from now on. If you're overseas and shipping is a problem, you may not get some items. That said, some of our items we are getting like a dozen shipped to you in Australia.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
right.
If we pick a winner from Australia next time, you can pass them out.
Yeah, we'll do our best to send the products that we spoke about, but we don't know where you're from until we ask you.
Yeah,
so,
right.
And we don't know that until we've drawn your name out of the hat.
Yeah, that's right.
So, we'll do our best to make sure that you get a bunch of good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's revisit what a ketogenic diet is, Richard.
Sure. It's a diet that puts you in a state of ketosis. It means that you're making ketones and your brain is running on ketones predominantly instead of running on glucose. And to do that, you've just got to not eat any glucose. So we basically eat 20 grams or less of carbohydrates. That's sugar and starch. And, our body turns those into glucose. And what happens when you don't give your body enough glucose is it makes its own.
Yeah.
And we make glucose out of protein. And so we have moderate protein. We use between 1 and 1.5 grams per kilogram of lean body mass. We get all of our energy from fat.
Fat.
That's fat on your plate or fat that you've eaten a decade ago. Maybe you had a Krispy Kreme a decade ago and you didn't need that energy immediately and you stored it. Well, now's the time you get to use that.
And if you really want to learn all about the ketogenic diet from us, listen to our Starting Keto show at start.2keto.com.
That's right.
Well, buddy, how was your week?
It was good, actually. I been busy working with Keto Fest Down Under. I'm prepping for all of the cooking demonstrations. On Monday, I'm going to spend some time with Chef Darren Tetley. We're going to play in his kitchen, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's always good to work in a commercial kitchen. And then so that's coming up this week. And also I've been trying to nail down all the speakers. I think we've got 3 really good speakers for the science component of the morning. And then we've got a special guest star for the afternoon, and I'm just working on that now. So the other thing that happened this week is that the Low Carb Down Under folk released Michael Eads' presentation from Breckenridge this year.
Yeah.
And that was on the reverse electron transport chain. And this is really one of the most fascinating presentations that I've seen in Breckenridge. And he worked out how to quantify how good a fat was for our body based on how long the chain was and how many double bonds of carbon there were, and basically was able to work out a very simple number. He was able to determine the FADH to NAD plus ratio, generation ratio of the fat, and he was able to specify what fats would cause your body to have a mild insulin resistance, and in this case, localized insulin resistance is a good thing because it causes the body to make more mitochondria. So it basically drives mitogenesis, which is a good thing. So, it turns white fat into brown fat, and it makes all of your cells more efficient.
What I liked about that presentation, and I think this is what you're getting at, is the takeaway for me was that, we think that fats are fats and we should have natural animal fats, and they're better than vegetable oils. But most people think, a little vegetable oil here and there won't hurt you. Well, yeah, it will. And he showed in his presentation that when you eat a vegetable oil, it sort of does the same thing to you that a carb will do, in that it prevents you from efficiently burning energy. Yeah.
And most of that he got from Peter from Hyperlipids. So, he did call out Petra Dombrovsky. I think that's how you pronounce his surname. He just calls himself Peter because he's got an unusual surname. Yeah. And he most of that came from Peter at Hyperlipid. But yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Coincidentally, this week I actually had my first lecture on the Krebs cycle.
Nice.
So, and electron transport chain. And I actually learned a new thing in the class, which is that all of the membrane-bound complexes that do all of the hard work but basically it's a fuel cell in our body that combines hydrogen with oxygen without having explosions. So, it's a fuel cell that generates power slowly, as slowly as it can. And what is doing all of the hard work in this is iron atoms, and I had no idea. So that's something new I learned this week. So that was my week. How was yours, Carl?
My week was pretty good. I've been working pretty hard, and leading up to today, Saturday the 18th, which is my next Keto Mini Fest.
Oh, cool. And where's that? Is that at your place?
Yep, at my place, and I'm doing picanha.
Nice.
Yeah, and I got about 10 or 12 people coming. It's hard to tell because some people say they're coming, but they haven't actually signed up. So I think I'm getting 10 or 12 people. But Joan Walker is going to speak about clean meats. And she's a farmer who was at Keto Fest. And she raises grass-fed cattle that are the product of which is really delicious and fatty.
Good.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I've been doing. So let's give away some swag, Richard.
Every show, we pick a lucky winner at random from the members of our 2 Keto Dudes fan club.
Yep. And today we're giving away a treasure trove of stuff from vendors we like, all of which you can find at fanclub.2keto.com.
So who's our winner this week?
Today's winner is Christine Lalonde.
Congratulations, Christine.
Yeah.
Carl, let's tell everybody what Christine's won.
Well, the first thing we're giving her is a 2 Keto Dudes coffee mug that says, "Keep calm and keto on."
Also, a signed copy of Lies My Doctor Told Me by Dr. Ken Berry, online at lies.2keto.com.
And a bottle of Stevia Sweet Barbecue Sauce, developed by a barbecue restaurant owner who plans to change the restaurant industry forever. Only 2 grams of carbs per serving. Online at steviasweetbbq.com.
And a cheese-making kit from Wine and Whey. That's Pam Zorn, who gave everybody at Keto Fest a kit so they can make their own fresh mozzarella. That's online at wineandwhey.com. That's WINEANDWHEY.com.
Yep. And a 6-ounce cup of beef bone broth concentrate from Birthright Nutrition. Simply add water, heat, stir, and sip and enjoy. Jam-packed with good stuff. More at birthrightnutrition.com.
We're also giving away a bottle of Remag Magnesium Solution developed by Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with a copy of her protocol and the Keto and Magnesium Manifesto presented at Keto Fest 2018. That's all online at magmiracle.com.
We're also giving away a big bottle of fasting drops from Keto Chow. It's a well-formulated blend of electrolytes. You just drop a little in your water and fasting will be a breeze. Online at fastingdrops.2keto.com.
Also, a bottle of Sated RTD, which stands for Ready to Drink. This is now available in both chocolate and vanilla, and the lucky listener will get one of each. That's online at sated.com/2k-RTD. sated.com/2kf-RTD.
And from Keto & Co., a sampler 6-pack, 1 bag of brownies, a bag each of 4 flavored cauliflower rices, and a bag of flatbread. Online at ketoand.co.
And if you don't want to wait to win some swag, you can buy all sorts of it online at gear.2keto.com.
And as we said, certain restrictions may keep us from shipping certain items overseas. But if Christine is in the U.S., she will get all of these things. And that brings us squarely to an item we call Mail!
Mail! What you got, Carl?
Well, I have a message from the Getting Started forum on ketogenicforums.com. And this is from Corey Mayo, and it's titled 18 Days In and Struggling. Is This Normal? So far, I've been loving the keto life. I've had a 2-day first week flu, but recovered. I'm 8 pounds down and my cravings are gone. I'm drinking electrolytes and getting fats. I am crashed, burnt out, and tired. I tried bulletproof coffee initially, but it seemed to make me hungry. Gonna try again tomorrow morning, though. Anyone else experience this? How long did it take you to get through it? It's about 3 days now. Thanks. And yeah, this is, you really have to be patient when you start the ketogenic lifestyle because your body is relearning how to process energy. It's got a different source now. And it's not going to be good at it for maybe a good 4 or 5 weeks. And then you can call yourself fat adapted.
Took me about 6 weeks, and I reckon even 6 months later, I was still getting better at burning fat preferentially. It's really one of these things that when you change your source of energy, it changes a lot of things about how your body runs. And one of them, for example, is how much sodium you take up and how much you hold on to. And so a lot of people report that their symptoms of keto flu disappear when they have more salt in their diet. So that might be one thing, if you're coming from a diabetic state where you're probably told to, restrict calories and cut back on the saturated fat and salt. Absolutely cut back on salt because, it causes high blood pressure, which is one of the metabolic syndrome issues. Then your taste buds are probably not used to having a normal amount of salt. You're probably used to stuff that isn't very salty. And so you probably need to eat more salt than you really think you should be initially at the start. So add a little bit more salt and see if that makes a difference. Yep. Also, the other thing that I would suggest is that when you first start out, your body, especially if you come from a diabetic state, your body is not good at burning fat. That's why you increase your adipose tissue. That's why you're putting fat on your body because you're not good at burning it. And you're not good at burning glucose because that's why you've become insulin resistant.
That's why you're hungry all the time.
That's right. That's why you're hungry all the time. That's why you're lethargic all the time because despite the fact that you appear to have so much energy sitting on your body, you're not able to use any of it.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that happens, you're probably only burning glucose, but you're not good at getting it into your cells because you're insulin resistant.
Right.
So what happens as soon as you stop eating glucose, all of a sudden you don't have your ability to use body fat for energy, and you've now got no source of glucose, and you're waiting for your insulin to drop. And meanwhile, your brain is running out of energy. So one of the little hacks that you can try is try adding MCT oils or just coconut oil to your diet. And what that does is all of the liquid soluble fatty acids, like medium chain and short chain triglycerides, they all have a prioritized way of getting into your body. Most fats enter your body and then get ported around by lipoproteins and then get handed off to all the cells that use fat.
And butter is another one of those things, like coconut oil, that has a short chain.
Right. Butyrate is the short-chain fatty acid in butter, and that's where butter gets its name, or maybe that's where butyrate gets its name from. And these short-chain fats, they go straight to the liver. So they don't get ported around in lipoproteins like your other fats. They go straight to your liver, and your liver gets to turn them straight into ketones. And what that really does is it gives you a way very easily to create ketones to support your brain. And so if your symptoms of keto flu are brain fog and mental fatigue, then I would suggest adding MCTs and coconut oil to your diet, and that may help.
Or just butter, like we said. Mo butter, better.
Mo butter.
Yeah. So you're going to read a mail?
Yeah, my mail is actually from Facebook. This is actually from Jess Monk from the Keto Files group on Facebook. This is a group that prioritizes mental as well as physical health.
Great.
And it's really a poem. And it goes a little bit like this. Today I asked my body what she needed, which is a big deal considering my journey of not really asking that much. I thought she might need water or protein or greens or yoga or supplements or movement. But as I stood in the shower reflecting on her stretch marks, her roundness where I would really like flatness, her softness where I would like firmness, all those conditioned wishes that form a bundle of never quite rightness, she whispered very gently, "Could you just love me like this?"
Oh, that's sweet.
And that's a poem from Holly Holden, and that was posted by Jess Monk on the Facebook group.
Very nice. Very sweet. Okay, well, that brings us to the content part of our show, the interview part anyway. It's all content, isn't it? Let's bring on Mr. Ted Tieken. Ted is the founder and CEO of Keto & Co., the company behind Sated Keto Meal Shakes. Sated's brand promise is to make products that are convenient, delicious, ultra-low carb, affordable, complete meals. Keto & Co. also manufactures low-carb versions of traditionally high-carb items like brownies, rice, which is made from cauliflower, oatmeal made from coconut, and with a wide range of baked goodies coming soon. Ted has been fascinated by the question of how food and nutrition evolves as a society grows wealthier since studying economic development at Harvard. In 2014, after seeing life-changing improvements in his chronic pain and losing 35 pounds, Ted dedicated his career to making the keto diet easy and delicious. He believes that better food technology and better designed foods can save us from diabetes and obesity, an epidemic created by a broken food system. Visit sated.com/2dudes, that's TWO dudes, to be the first to pre-order Sated ready-to-drink keto meal shakes. Limited 50% off discounts available while supplies last. Welcome, Ted.
Thanks, Carl. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. We met last year, didn't we, at Keto Fest?
We did. It was that was a fun event. It's all events in the first year have this kind of excitement and energy, and that was it was a good place to be. I'm glad we were able to participate in the first year of Keto Fest.
I should mention that without Ted, Keto Fest 1 probably wouldn't have been a success because
certainly
these guys they stepped in to save our butts when
save our bacon
when we literally save our bacon. And they had a great giveaway in the bags last year, which was dried broccoli, which was wonderful. You just reconstitute it, and you've got a wonderful side for your bacon. But if it wasn't for Ted and his team last year, that's why we invited them back this year, and they just knocked it out of the park. The Ice Cream Social, they basically took control of that entire thing and made that a successful event. So we're very grateful. Thank you very much, Ted.
No, and I have to say, both of those times, both the Ice Cream Social and the lunch fiasco that luckily none of the participants at Keto Fest knew was happening. Those were both due to Elise, my first employee, and she's now one of the co-owners of the company. She's fully responsible. I get none of the credit for the good things that happened.
Yeah, she was amazing. She stepped up and basically helped prepare and serve things when we didn't know what we were doing. And and did it all legally too, which we were, we had to do it under food laws, food safety laws. And
absolutely, Elise is a stickler for following the food rules, which is we love her for. Usually, the health department shows up and she's got her binder, and it's like here's everybody's certifications, here's our hold times. Yeah. And they're just blinking. They're like, I never get this.
I know. So, let's talk about your background a little bit. We'll get to the sated stuff in a minute, but when I read your intro, I really realized I hadn't heard your story of how, you changed your life with the keto diet. So tell us that.
Yeah, so I started keto June of 2014. So I'm at just over 4 years, nearly continuously ketogenic. Usually about 3 weekends a year, I'll get together with friends from college and drink beer. But aside from 3 weekends, I've been in keto continuously for just over 4 years. And it was kind of I started it on a long shot for a chronic pain condition on the advice of a friend from college. And he'd actually suggested it to me 2 years prior. And I brushed it off. I was like, no, there's no way diet can measurably improve health conditions. That's
by the way, you'll die if you don't eat carbs, right?
Right. No, I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that the brain normally burns glucose and the ketogenic brain burns ketones. But yeah, I brushed my friend off. I said, no, there's no way that's going to help. But I said, you're a smart guy. I respect your opinions. Next time I have an open experiment slot, I'll try it. And it took about 2 years. And then there was a scheduling mishap with my pain doctor. And so we couldn't adjust medications in that 2-month adjustment window. I was like, all right, well, I'm not happy with my weight and this whole keto thing, he seems to have a good reason to think it might help. And it was great. 4 days later, my pain was down by about 50%. Unlike any other pain treatment I've ever done for myself, my brain was sharper, which it was kind of like this never happens. You never get your pain down and your brain up at the same time. So that's what led me to it. The 35 pounds in 7 months was excellent. I was very happy to get back to the dude in the mirror looking like me again. But the reason I started a keto food company was this enormous increase in my ability to move throughout the world. I looked around. I was like, I'm going to be keto for at least the foreseeable future, barring some major advance in medicine. And I missed a bunch of things, and it was harder then than it is now. And I was like, I miss ice cream. I miss brownies. I miss
right.
I miss oatmeal.
We should mention before you talk about that your friend in college was John Durant, right? And he sort of has a pedigree.
Somewhat of a pedigree. Yeah, he is Mr. Caveman.
He wrote the Paleo Manifesto.
Yep. And he's been a great advisor as we build this food company, because he after becoming a paleo guru, became a healthy food guru as well, or healthy food products guru. So he's helped make a couple of really nice introductions. So, John, if you're listening to this, thank you very much. Sorry I rejected you in 2012.
Very good. All right. So back to Keto & Co. You started it because it aligned with your values, and you really wanted to bring some science and some products to this. Yeah,
I did. And it was, I sat down, I was thinking about doing 3 different things. I was thinking about starting a hedge fund. I was thinking about starting a software as a service company. And I was thinking about starting a food company.
And by the way, you're qualified to do all 3. You're like one of these genius people.
I don't know. At the time, I wasn't qualified to do a food company. I had to learn that. But luckily, there's a lot of really good stuff through most of the states. Their land grant schools have a agricultural and food extension. And so I was able to take a 4-hour course that gave me just the very basics of food science. And I was able to learn what I needed to from that. But yeah, I sat down and I was like, all right, what do I really value about work? What do I want to do with the next 5 to 10 years of my life? Because I'd done some reflection. I thought, if you're not willing to commit at least 3 years to something, you're not going to be able to do something that's worth doing.
Yeah.
And looking at my values, I was looking for something that was important to the world, that I was personally passionate about, and that was potentially profitable. And of the 3 things I was looking at doing, starting a food company that had the potential in a certain group of people to be a major part of their treatment for diabetes or obesity, really, really triggered my, hey, if this works, it's going to be important to the world. So that's how I got into this. We started with our first shake. We went on sale December 1st of 2014. And I didn't know if we were going to sell a single bag because I hadn't run a food company before and I hadn't run an e-commerce store before. So I made enough that I could eat all of it over 2 years if we didn't sell a single bag.
Wow.
So you made your own supply.
Yeah, well, it was this like, I'll literally eat the losses kind of a thing.
Right.
And we sold that out in 5 days, and we've been building a company around keto food on the internet ever since.
And that was a dry powder product, wasn't it?
It was. It's very similar to the current sated shakes. So we still sell that product under the banner Keto One. It's as natural as possible, and it tastes like it. So, it missed the market a little bit. I have to be honest. It has more comparisons to bugs than it does to, oh my God, that's chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to admit, I'm not a fan of shakes as a meal replacement, but I totally get why people do it because, they need to eat, if they're not fasting, and it's not always convenient or possible to eat keto when, you're in certain conditions or places. So I get it. And by the way, I have tasted the sated shake. I tasted it at Keto Fest, tasted like chocolate milk to me. And I tasted the vanilla. You sent me a bottle and it tastes great. So congrats on a good product.
Thank you. And that's really what we're trying to do with sated, where the original product was as natural as possible. Sated is supposed to be delicious and keeps you in ketosis.
Yeah.
And then as sating as possible as well.
Yeah.
But I think, so you guys call yourselves Keto Foodies, and
definitely.
I think I'm more of a foodie than I'm not, which is kind of weird selling these meal replacement shakes. And one of the reasons why the shakes fit so nicely in my life is I have very little tolerance for mediocre meals. Right? I either want it to be functional and fast, or I want it to be outstanding.
Yeah.
And the in between just feels like a waste of time and money to me. So I have this, I make and sell and consume nutritionally complete shakes, but then I love cooking these 3-course meals, going out to 3-course meals, really enjoying all of the wonderful tastes and flavors and textures that food has to provide. And that's one of the things that we're working really hard to communicate to people is that these shakes are not anti-cooking. These shakes are not anti-food. This is a tool when you're busy. And it's better than a lot of the other quick alternatives right now. And I actually think it's better than all of the quick alternatives right now if you're keto.
Right, because most people tend to snack on things that are generally higher in protein and lower in fat, right? Whereas if you're going to eat a meal and you want, well, I'm saying me, if I was going to eat a meal, I would want more fat than protein in my meal and as few carbs as possible. Yeah.
And that, snacking is pernicious. It's an easy way to get another 1,000 calories into your day.
Yeah, sure.
And that's, we designed the shakes to be delicious, to get you as far as possible, as many hours as possible per calorie. And we have more testing we want to do to see if we can get even further. But we generally get a lot of people who report that they will get somewhere between 3 and 6 hours of just not even thinking about food, not snacking between one shake and when hunger comes back. which for 400 calories is actually a pretty long ways to get on a single serving.
Yeah, what do you attribute that to? I mean, I know you've got a lot of like corn fiber in the product. Is that really that's the effect, or is it a caloric effect?
So it's we're pulling every lever in there that we can. So we have fast and slow digesting proteins, so you get proteinaceous satiety quickly and over time. Fiber is huge for how it works in digestion, and there is corn fiber in there, which sounds scary, but it's virtually carbohydrate free or virtually net carb free. But then there's also insoluble fiber and acacia fiber in there. And fiber, it creates bulk, literal fullness, and then it slows gastric emptying, which means you get a longer level load of nutrients. And then in, hours 3 through 7 of digestion, the gut turns it into butyrate, which feeds the microbiome. And so there's that. And then obviously fat is extremely sating. So, we've got those 3 levers, micronutrients, omega-3s, and then no sugar. So it's really kind of an artillery barrage of everything we know leads to human satiety. Engineered in specifically to try to make the shake as sating as possible.
Yeah.
And how do you sweeten it?
So our sweetener matrix in the ready to drink one is a combination of erythritol, monk fruit, and stevia. And we did a lot of research this spring.
I was part of it.
Yeah. We had everybody we could get taste 6 or 7 or 10 or 20 different options. And what we found was, we found a couple of different plateaus of erythritol cleaning up the sweetness of monk fruit and stevia combined. And then there was another plateau where erythritol increased the vibrancy of flavor. And so that was some hard-won knowledge. It took us a lot of frustrating hours in the kitchen and a lot of dead ends, but we were able to break some new ground and get a combination of natural sweeteners that is very high in acceptance. With artificial sweeteners or these high intensity sweeteners, like monk fruit and stevia being high intensity natural sweeteners, you're never going to get to 100%. Like it's never going to be, that tastes like sugar to everyone. But we're really happy with where we got it to.
I should also mention that you didn't just get into the, as you mentioned, your values, right? Profitable was one of those values. And I got to imagine somebody that goes to Harvard is going to, and starts a business, is going to be pretty sure that there's a good upside to that business. And you obviously saw something in the keto market that would explode. And you sort of anticipated that. And I'm not saying it has exploded, but it's certainly on an upward trend, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I, when I got into this, I just looked at the mathematical result on diabetes, and that was all you had to do. That was sufficient evidence to me that there was going to be a huge increase in the demand for keto in the future. 10% of the population has diabetes. Keto is a mathematical drug-free solution for a certain percentage of them.
Sure.
You can work backwards from that to what's the potential of this as a treatment in a society. And, the potentially profitable was that, I like solving problems. I look at companies as solving problems through the profit mechanism. And that was the only way we could fund solving additional problems, was to make money and build more. But it was really the diabetes impact that led me to think, I don't know if it's going to take 5 years or 20 years. It's probably going to take about 10, but this is going to get big at some point just because of the results that it has over there.
Right.
Yeah. You took quite a gamble there, because back in 2014, December of 2014, when you got started, we didn't know that ketogenic diets could treat diabetes. We had plenty of anecdotal evidence from people who did. And I mean, for me, I started in 2014, in April of 2014, and by November I was non-diabetic. So I knew that it would work, but there wasn't a lot of science out there that showed it.
Yeah, there hadn't been published a science quality high-end study yet. But I am something of an intuitive thinker. If I see a strong the mechanism is plausible and the anecdotal evidence supports the mechanism, that's generally stronger evidence than you normally get in business. And so the mechanism and the anecdotal evidence combining, I was going to be flat shocked if the large N human trials didn't show the same thing, just because the pathway is so clear. You can explain it to somebody in less than a minute.
Yeah.
If you don't eat glucose, it's hard to have trouble with your blood glucose.
Yeah.
That's right.
So there was a gamble, and it did end up paying off. Unfortunately, a little bit sooner than we'd hoped. And I say unfortunately because we were pursuing a build out a line, waiting for this thing to hit in 10 years. And 4 years in, it's already on trend. So we had to change strategy 2.5 years in pretty substantially, and, deprioritize certain things and move resources to other things. Just because the scope of the business problem changed. So I, to a certain extent, from a selfish personal perspective, would have preferred if keto took another year or two and we could have gotten a little bit further before it was on trend. But, but it's extremely exciting.
Another thing that's really interesting to me is that it isn't just Keto & Co., but you've got several companies, some that you bought, some that you took over, some that you're starting. And one of them was the box thing, the delivery, Keto Delivered.
Yeah. So we took over Keto Delivered about 1.5 years ago. And the original founder of that, Craig, is still lightly involved. But we took over all operations and marketing of it in late 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, very good.
And so we're, again, looking at companies as problem-solving mechanisms. We try to solve as many problems as we can, and a subscription box solves the discovery problem for a lot of people. It's a lot of people don't love reading food labels and doing the research and scouring trade shows to figure out what are the new and upcoming keto products. And it's something where we can do a lot of that research, and other people can benefit from it. And it's great because we get to help some of these smaller upcoming keto companies get enough orders to do their first production run through that. And that's one of the things that we really enjoy. We've got a list in our office of about 100 things long of keto foods that we'd like to develop once we have enough time. And when somebody writes us saying, "Hey, we just developed this," it's just like I go up to the whiteboard, I cross it off, and I was like, "All right, on to the next one." There's so many problems to solve that we actually get really happy when we see somebody else solve one of the problems. The ice cream social you guys mentioned before is a big example of that. We developed an ice cream recipe. And then Rebel Creamery came out, and we're like, "Oh, this is awesome! These people are just doing ice cream. Ice cream is really hard. Let's help promote them." And so we promoted their Kickstarter. And when Carl, you were very, very polite about it. You asked me, would you be offended if these guys are at this ice cream social you guys are arranging? And our response was, that would be awesome.
Heck no.
No, because it was like Austin and his team, they're great people, super smart. Yeah. He's got an even fancier Harvard degree than I do. He went to the business school. And I think they're going to just take over the keto ice cream world. So, but it's one of those things where we don't really feel super competitive yet, at least, because there are so many problems left to solve. And Keto Delivered is a fun way that we can help other people who are trying to solve keto food problems get their feet under them. And Elise does the curation for that as well. She's a woman of many, many talents.
Yes, she is.
And I'll hear from her office as she's explaining to people like a lot of the mistakes we made early on as a food company. And I'm like, oh, I wish Elise had existed when I started.
So tell Elise's story, because it's fascinating with the food trucks and all that.
Yeah. So when I met Elise, I was it was my first day producing the first shake, and she was working for a vegan food truck, vegan taco food truck,
Yeah.
Wow.
which it sounds a little weird, but their food is actually phenomenal. It's called Taco Party here in Boston, and they now have a restaurant. And it was late November, and so they were going off the road because it's really hard to sell food on the side of the road during winter in Boston. And I was over there. I had actually had long hair at the time, which didn't look good, by the way. And she kind of bounds up to me and says, "Hi, I'm Elise. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Hi, I'm this crazy guy. I'm making keto food." She's like, "What's keto?" And I, as she walked away, I was like, "Man, that person's really good at sales. If this works, I should try to get her involved."
Yeah.
When we sold out of that first run and I needed to build a business quickly, I knew that they'd gone off, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do a couple of shifts?" And then, "Hey, do you want to do a couple more? Do you want to do a couple more?" And, within about 3 months, she was running the production team. And she's been an absolutely invaluable asset to the company.
Yeah.
As we've been growing.
I mean, what she did with the ice cream social is she got, first of all, you guys brought your own soft serve ice cream in addition to Rebel's stuff. And she lined up all these vendors of toppings and, everything from like hot fudge to butterscotch caramel stuff and cookies and nuts and all these crazy things. and it was, and she got the Dry Farms wine guys to come and bring some of their wine.
Yeah. And
she just made this happen.
Well, I don't know if there's anyone in the world who has a better pulse on what keto products exist in the market than Elise does. And she's worked with a number of the companies that came to the ice cream social before with the subscription box.
Yeah.
And, it was just really exciting. And I think the ice cream social was my favorite part of Keto Fest this year because you could just stand there and so at one point there was a line that was 100 people long.
Yeah.
Which was just like, wow, that's amazing. But then, you look around a room and you see 100 people who haven't had ice cream in years.
Right.
Having not just ice cream, but like ice cream sundaes and 3 different choices and flavors.
It was a room full of happy.
Exactly.
Serious. And a line around the corner, as Ted said.
I was actually both happy and stressed about that because I'm like, oh man, we got to give these people a good experience. We've got to get them served quickly. What can we do? But luckily it didn't rain. That would have been bad. But no, Elise is very dynamic. She's a very good coordinator, and it was really cool to see all of the different companies that are making these keto-friendly and truly keto-friendly products come together to deliver this room full of happy, as Richard said.
What do you think? How big can this get? I mean, I'm talking about the sort of the number of people who are doing keto and looking for keto products. Do you really see this as being like multi-million dollars market?
So I think it's actually probably closer to a multi-billion-dollar market.
Yep.
Really?
My market sizing for keto food, and specifically keto food, so not including cheese and meat and vegetables, things that are just already keto. I anticipated somewhere between 1 and 5 billion in total sales.
Wow.
I look at it this way. We've got something like 10% of Americans are type 2 diabetic, and really 55% of people are on, at least Californians, according to UCLA, are on the diabetes spectrum. That's a massive market. That's between 30 and 150 million Americans for whom eating this kind of way will save their toes, their eyesight, their erections, and their cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it more than $1 billion industry. This is definitely a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, the only real impediment to that is just people taking it seriously. And right now, we're sort of still and I say we, the keto community, or the keto diet is still looked at as a diet. We can't help but continue to look at this through the lens of history, which tells us diets don't work, they're fads, they come and go.
Absolutely. I mean, I was opposed to a diet as a treatment at the beginning. So I've gone through the process myself, and so I have a lot of empathy for other people who hear that and they're like, oh, no. This is just another set of snake oil. This is just another, this is another fad. This is a grapefruit fast. This isn't going to work.
Right.
Real results aren't possible through diet. And I think, people have a good reason to have that bias because so far we haven't seen great results as a society from diets, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But Carl, I think you were teeing up this concept of, is it a diet or a lifestyle?
Yeah.
And I think it's more of a lifestyle than a diet. We did some research, about a 4,000 person research of how did you find keto? What are the challenges? Why are you using it last year? And I don't have the data right off the top of my head, but it was something on the order of 80% of people who've done the keto diet, who are on the keto diet, have no plans of ever going off. And the real power in that question was we had an other column, and a full 6% of respondents took it upon themselves to create a forever for life category. So it was people, once they get on it, if it works for them, and keto, not everybody can get past the first 4 days for the keto flu. And, there may be people who just are maladapted for genetic reasons to the diet. But if it works for you, it's life changing on the average. And when your life changes like that, your pain drops by half. You drop 43 pounds, which is the average we saw in our survey. Why would you want to go back to bread, right? 43 pounds versus bread. To me, it's an easy decision.
True. So what's new in your, the sated stuff is fairly new. It just came out. You got out of Kickstarter, but what else is on your horizon? What's on your to-do list?
So, our Kickstarter is 3 days old as we're recording this. And I'm pleased to say we set a new 1-day record for a food product on Kickstarter. So that was very exciting for us. So that's taking up only about half of our energy, which tells you just how much we have going on, that a Kickstarter like that is only about half of our development energy. We've got the relaunch of our brownies that we previewed at Keto Fest is happening in the next month to month and a half.
Nice.
We have 4 new flavors of our riced cauliflower.
Yeah.
New flavors coming out all the time of our sated shakes, obviously. And then we have and I don't even know if we've given you a preview of this yet, Carl.
Okay.
A cake/cupcake mix and a frosting mix that my kids and our warehouse employees say taste just like they were bought from the store.
Wow.
So we're pretty excited about that. We've got a flatbread coming out, and we're working on just a dozen things in the bakery space. It's busy. We're in the middle of hiring. Actually, we're about 9 people right now. We're trying to get to 15 by the end of the year. Because we have more products that are ready to go to market than we have time to finish the labels, to buy the labels, to get them manufactured. So,
wow.
And you're out of Boston, right?
Yep, we're out of Boston. So, jobs.ketoand.co is our hiring portal. If anybody's in the Boston area looking for a variety of different kinds of jobs in the keto industry.
That's awesome, Ted. And
you don't have to be keto to work here. We ask that you be passionate about the impact that keto has on our customers' lives. Though over the past year, we went from I was the only person in the company who was keto to it's about half of the company now.
Nice.
Which it's funny. Keto in the workplace is a unique thing where we were getting ready for the Kickstarter, and it was Elise, Kim, who does our marketing, me, and our video guy. And it was like, 6:00, and all the keto people were just burning. And the video guy comes into my office, kind of like ashen face. He's like, "Are we going to stop for dinner?" And I did these like, "Oh yeah, non-keto people have to stop and eat.
Yeah,
we should do that." I've learned on the first day with employees, I have to do that.
Well, Ted, thanks for coming on the show and telling us all about you and Elise and your company, and I wish you success in the future. We all do.
Thank you, Carl. It's been a lot of fun. And we also wish you guys a ton of success in the future, and keep throwing these Keto Fests. They're a lot of fun. We love coming to them.
Yeah, we certainly will. And we'll get together at Del Frisco's soon.
I think so. A good steak is in order.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Richard.
Heard you say you're due for a little.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Ted and Elise.
They really saved our bacon in Keto Fest 1, and they were an essential part of both Keto Fest 1 and Keto Fest 2. And we're very grateful, and these guys really have their heads switched on.
Yep. Well, my friend, are you peckish, puckish, or otherwise hungry?
I am. I think it's time for some recipes! What you got, Carl?
Okay. Well, as I said in the last show, I got a new smoker, right? Mm-hmm. And I had a pork butt in the freezer.
I like pork butt, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny.
I didn't see that coming. Sorry. Well, so I smoked a pork butt, and this was a picnic shoulder, so it's got the skin on it.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Yeah. And the story is, I think I told this story on the last show that I started it at midnight, and at 7 a.m. the cops showed up wondering if our house was burning down. I said, no, but you can come back for lunch.
I'm just smoking some pork.
Well, back in my pre-keto days, I used to like ham salad. And I know it's weird, but, you know, we have chicken salad, tuna salad, egg salad, and the deli. You can get those things. Well, you can also get ham salad, which is finely chopped ham and mayonnaise and celery and some spices and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's usually combined with sweet relish, which, you know, kind of goes well with ham, you know, a little sweet. But I made a pork butt salad. So you did pulled pork 8 ways or 7 ways. This is number 8.
Okay. So do you do it with pulled meat or you do it with diced meat?
Yeah, exactly. So I made a pork butt salad. And here's really all it is. So when I made the pork butt, I made a rub, and it's equal parts, and I used the sweetener xylitol because I can handle it. So xylitol, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. I know you don't like the powders, but with a rub, you know, that's what you need.
Sure.
Black pepper and fennel seed. And I rubbed that all over, and that was really great. So when I cut it up, I chopped it into very fine diced pieces, as fine as I could get.
Right.
And I added mayo and celery and some more of the rub, some of the leftover rub that I had, just to give it that flavor. And the fennel is just amazing. That really works
fennel
with
and pork
pork.
goes together really well.
Yep. And that's pretty much it. And I don't have precise amounts. I mean, you eyeball it, right? You have so much pork, you put so much mayo in there, and you know, 4 or 5 stalks of celery that are chopped up fine, and just, you know, add some flavoring to taste. So that's it. And I thought it might be good. It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. And, you know, Karen Mangiacotti was here last night.
Right.
From Keto Families and Keto Kids podcast. And she, and I gave some to her, and she was like, wow, this is really good. You know, you don't think of taking pulled pork or pork butt, chopping it up and making a salad out of it. But I thought ham salad, pork butt salad, nope, it was really good.
Oh, sounds good. I'm going to have to try that. And
by the way, speaking of Keto Families and Keto Kids, we're finally publishing this show.
Nice.
This podcast, right?
Yeah.
KetoFamiliesPodcast.com. Go check it out. Let your kids listen to it. There's a kids section, Keto Kids, and there's a separate podcast available on iTunes called Keto Kids Podcast that your children can listen to just by themselves. So anyway.
That's true.
What do you got?
So I've actually got a recipe. Well, I've got 2 recipes, and these are in honor of Dr. Michael Eads, who gave that presentation at Breckenridge.
Yeah.
And during his presentation, he mentioned a wilted salad. Now, I'd never heard of a wilted salad before.
Okay.
And so he basically said this recipe, you cook up some bacon, and when the bacon is cooked, you take it out of the skillet and you take the bacon juice or the bacon oil. Yeah,
sure.
And you pour it over your salad leaves, and basically it wilts the salad leaves.
Nice.
And it basically makes a dressing and then you chop up the bits of bacon and you add them back to the salad, and that's your classic wilted salad.
Yeah.
But I have 2 recipes here, and one of them is a classic wilted salad that uses sugar.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to suggest not even using any sweetener at all. It won't need a sweetener.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how they do it. They take 4 bacon strips and that basically cook them in a skillet over a medium heat until crisp, and then using a slotted spoon, remove the bacon to paper towels to drain. And then to the hot drippings, they add 1/4 cup of white vinegar. I'd use apple cider vinegar, I think, but as well as that, they add about 2 tablespoons of water and some green onions that have been chopped, and they add 2 teaspoons of sugar and salt. I wouldn't add any sugar at all. I think the vinegar and the flavour of the bacon grease is going to work really well as a dressing. I don't think you're going to need a sweetener, but if you need a sweetener, just add a little bit of xylitol, a little bit of erythritol.
Yep.
And basically, they pour that over 8 to 10 cups of torn lettuce leaves. And on top of the lettuce, once you've wilted it down, you add the crumbled up pieces of bacon and also a hard-boiled egg chopped up. And so that's that recipe, and that's like a classic wilted salad recipe.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of things that you can add to this that I've seen in non-traditional wilted salad recipes, and that is you can get red radishes, slice them up, and basically once you've cooked the bacon, you put the radish slices in the oil and fry them up before then you whisk in all of the rest of the dressing ingredients. And so you end up with sort of like a bacon fried radishes. The other thing you can add to this recipe is slices of strawberries. So you can add slices of strawberries to your lettuce salad, and then wilt them with the bacon oil. And then the final recipe is, I'm just going to put a link to the final recipe, but this is a recipe on using just kale and bacon to do a wilted salad recipe. And this blog gives a tip for making kale not only not bitter, but in fact even sweet. You remove the stems. The stems are all the bitter parts, and the leaves are actually quite sweet. So you know how kale always has that bitter taste? Well, this is a way to not have that problem.
Excellent. Wow, that sounds good. I've had wilted salads before. And basically, the idea is that you want to get hot fat on top of leaves, and it's sort of, I wouldn't say it cooks it, but it does sort of. It just, it's like lightly frying or sautéing your lettuce, your greens.
Adding a little bit of vinegar and water and salt to the oil is going to make it into a dressing, right?
Yep. Well, that's a show. We hope you liked it, and there you go.
Of course, if you have anything that you want to tell us, something we said wrong, something you don't agree with, some more research that you found to support or refute anything that we've said, send it by email to dudes@twoketodudes.com or post it on the website.
And you can follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at 2KetoDudes. Make sure to use the hashtag 2KetoDudes.
And of course, if you want to join the free ketogenic forum, it's forum.2keto.com. And you can have a look around the ketogenic forum without needing to create an account by starting with success.2keto.com.
And if useless swag is your fancy, t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other junk with witty keto sayings on them, head over to gear.2keto.com.
And if you want a shot at getting some of that swag for free, join the 2 Keto Dudes fan club, where you'll be eligible to win something in every show. Go to fanclub.2keto.com.
And if you feel like supporting our forums and all the podcasts that we produce, including 2 Keto Dudes, Keto Woman with Daisy Brackenhall, Keto Families, Keto Kids, and the Obesity Code podcast with Jason Fung and Megan Ramos, think about making a monthly pledge on our Patreon page at patreon.2keto.com.
You can also see all of our podcasts and other videos on YouTube at youtube.2keto.com.
And if you haven't already, go leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That's how new people get to know about what we do. Two Keto Dudes is brought to you by 2Keto LLC, who strives to support the low-carb community with podcasts and other publications. And Richard, my friend, keep calm, keto on, and fast when you can.
Yeah, keep calm, keto on, and Keto Fest down under in Australia at least once a year.
All right, we'll see you next time on Two Keto Dudes.